Well, both of you have done a good job in terms of talking about how city investments can create a better State Street and a better Edgewater that presumably would draw people of means into the city, and I think that's a good thing. And you both have talked about programs that you provided leadership to that supported people who are vulnerable because of their poverty. And one of the things that many of us have learned is that the key to supporting vulnerable people is to provide the stability that comes with safe and affordable housing. So I'm presuming that you're both just waiting for an opportunity for somebody to draw the attention to affordable housing, to talk about what you will do to distinguish yourself in this term that's coming up to promote more units of affordable housing for low-income people.
Good question. Ally Drive, I think, is a good template for what can be done. You had an area there which had, deep, serious problems, and we went in. We recognized those problems. We purchased about 20% of the housing on Ally Drive. For all the things you could say about it, it was affordable. We purchased it, and then went to work. And we had about a year-long process to work with the neighborhood and the community and nonprofit groups and volunteer architects to come up with solutions, both physical on-the-ground design solutions and also programmatic solutions to do two things. To reinvest in the neighborhood and just to improve the quality of life there, but at the same time to keep it affordable. And I think so far we've accomplished that goal. It remains affordable. It has something called Sticky 8s, which are Section 8 housing, which is attached to the Section 8 vouchers, which are attached to the housing. And if you've been there, I think it's beautiful housing, and creates a sense of a neighborhood because of the interaction between the private space of the home and the public space of the sidewalk and the street. And so I think that's a good example of how you can come into a neighborhood. And this hasn't been done much anywhere in America. Typically what happens when you reinvest in a neighborhood like that is you gentrify it. But that hasn't happened on Ally Drive, and I think it won't. We have maintained its affordability while dramatically improving the quality of life on Ally Drive. Police calls on Ally are down 53%. So I think that's an example of what can be done with some political commitment and some resources. Can I mention one thing? I still have time? A little time? Yeah. And in this neighborhood, around Meritor, we've been working with Alder Carr on a program. It's a partnership between the city, Meritor, WIDA, and Commonwealth Development to help folks buy housing in this neighborhood who work at Meritor. And the way it's going to work is, I think Meritor is providing 8 up to $10,000 loans for down payment assistance. The city is coming through with the same amount, interest-free on the city's part, and then you don't have to pay it back until you actually transfer the house. And that's workforce housing, so that people who work at Meritor, medical techs, nurses, folks like that, who might want to live in this neighborhood but can't afford to right now, might have an opportunity to do that.
As soon as Dave said WIDA, I suddenly realized I was going to restructure my whole response. And let me explain. I'm on leave right now from WIDA, and I love that job dearly. Don't send me back. But first I'd just like to point out that over the years, my administrations did create thousands of units of affordable housing, ranging from much of what is now built in the Triangle, the first housing designed specifically for people with physical disabilities, the senior housing that's over there, Parkside. It wasn't finished during my administration, the Capitol Center, which is a beautiful blend of public and private leverage together with market housing. And we also incorporate the senior center and so on. But the point is this: you didn't define, you said for low income. I'm going to take that as meaning families with incomes as high as $50,000, $60,000 a year who simply cannot afford to live in the city. These are working families. There are programs out there. We have them in the city. We have them in the state through WIDA. And when I look at what's been done in Milwaukee, there's just some spectacular stuff. And again, I go back to Gary Gorman. I have visited some of the projects Gary's done in Milwaukee, and there's absolutely no reason those kinds of projects could not have been done here. In fact, my daughter, my middle daughter, Alexandra, Alex, rather, I want to call her Alexandra, Alex, who now lives in Milwaukee, recently asked me about living in a specific property, and she didn't know it, but it was one of Mr. Gorman's projects. The key to all of this is working with developers and having a process that engages, well, back where we started, engages the neighborhood, engages the people who are going to become residents there, engages the developer, and that we work to jointly develop housing that meets the needs of the families, gives them an opportunity to make a reasonable rent payment and or get into a homeowner situation. By the way, let me just mention something about home ownership, especially given what's happened in this country and all the properties that are in foreclosure. There are three elements that go into basically evaluating a family with a low income. One is their down payment, the second is the underwriting, and the third is their income. Well, some people mistakenly believe that the size of the down payment is the determinative factor. It was in the Sand States, in Florida and Arizona, where we had so many defaults. But here in Wisconsin, not just locally, but here in the state, we've had a wonderful record, very few defaults of homeowners who didn't have large down payments, but were very qualified on the underwriting.